Hello and welcome back to Cello 101. Today we are going to be working on number 8 in Book 2, March in G by J.S. Bach. Overall, we don't have anything terribly out of the norm. We do have a couple of naturals. You have a couple of naturals in interesting places, do have some second position work, have some dynamic work, have a little bit of second position. And other than that, there's a little bit of interest. There's a couple of interesting rhythms, and there's a couple of things in terms of like notes or fingerings that are probably not going to be anticipated the first time around. So should definitely kind of break that down and work it from there. So starting from the top, we're running at about 90 BPM. We are in cut time, so yeah, just keep that in mind. Okay. So let's go ahead and take it from the top, and we can go from there. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so taking a look at this, we've got the first section, measures 1 through 17. We do have a repeat there, and then we have measures 18 through 31, 32, 33. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first line, which would be the first 4 measures. Nice, simple, straightforward, starting mezzo forte, nothing out of the blue. There are two slurs at the tail end. Let's go ahead and play that through. So starting at the beginning, let's take it a little bit slower. So 1, 2, 1. Yeah, so 1, 2, 1. Keep in mind you do have a decrescendo on the last 2 notes. Let's go ahead and do that one more time. 1 and 2 and... Okay, moving on. We have the same rhythmic pattern, most of the same notes. It should be 1 step higher, pretty much throughout, with the exception of the introductory half notes. The last 2 measures are basically 1 step higher. So let's go ahead and play measures 5 through measure 8. 1 and 2 and... Now, keep in mind, you do have a decrescendo at the beginning. As you are building, or as you are climbing up the staff, you are increasing in volume up to that forte, and then you do have a decrescendo in measure 8. So let's go ahead and do that one more time. 1 and 2 and... Okay, moving on to measures, let's do measure 9 to the repeat sign, because it's basically the same idea repeated a couple of times with a slight variation. So, measure 9, now notice we do have a decrescendo into another decrescendo, and then we have the repeat. So it will be getting kind of quiet through here. Let's go ahead and do measure 9 to the first repeat bar. So 1 and 2 and quieter, quieter. Okay. Now in measure 14 at the tail end, you see the notes fingerings above, the open note to the 4, but you have an alternate fingering if you choose to go into second position there, which would actually be 3, 1, 3, 1, fourth finger to second finger. At this point, I would probably say with a regular fingerings there, I wouldn't try to shift, just because hitting that shift can be very hard. Let's go ahead and do that one more time. Measure 9 to the first repeat. So 1 and 2 and quieter, quieter. Okay, let's go ahead and do that entire. Let's try tying the first 2 bars together. Since we're playing the second 2 bars together, let's try tying the first 2 bars together, and then we'll put that entire first section together. So, starting at measure 1, running to measure 8. Because it's kind of the same idea, just slightly different. It's mostly elevated. There's some slight different notes, but let's go ahead and do measure 1 through measure 8. 1 and 2 and. And then the last 2 measures to the repeat bar, just like we did a second ago. 9 to measure 17. 1 and 2 and. Okay, and let's put all of that together. Kind of changing up the format as we go through to develop chunks a little bit faster so that we can work on them and then refer back to them. Pardon me. Let's go ahead and put all of that first section to the repeat bar at measure 7 to the tail end of measure 17 together. So 1 and 2 and. Starting at measure 18, let's play that bar, or that line, I guess. Yeah, all of measure, or from measure 18 to measure 21. 1 and 2 and. Nope, I apologize. Measure 18 to measure 21. 1 and 2 and. One more time. We do have that same crescendo as in the second line. I think that is pretty close. It's pretty close. It's slightly different. Let's play 18 to 21. 1 and 2 and. And then measure 22 has some interesting stuff. Normally it's been half note, half note, half note. This one is quarter, half, quarter with a shift. So it'll be it's first note of the next measure, but it'll be so that'll be starting at first position, transferring to second position with your fourth on the D, giving you an A, and then you'll be playing your third, which will be a G sharp. So let's go ahead and just do that measure by itself. Not with any timing, not with any note duration, just play the E. Okay, go ahead and let's do that one more time, but we're going to play all three notes. So it'll be the E, the A, and the G sharp. So, yeah, just go ahead and play along with me. I'm just literally gonna play half notes each time. So, again, again. This is one of the shifts that's really, really handy to be able to hit that next note up, especially when you've got a lot of G sharps and that kind of stuff up in this particular region. But working on hitting that shift is going to be K. So they're going to be key. I guess it could be both technically. Anyway, let's go ahead and do measure. Let's do from 22 to 25. So that entire bar there at 22. Or the entire line there at 22. Still taking it nice and slow, 1 and 2 and. But keep in mind that rhythm right there is slightly different. We've also got a slightly different rhythm in measure 24. Instead of having a quarter note before a whole bunch of eighths, we've got a whole bunch of eighths in a row across the bar line. Pardon me. So that will be something to also keep in mind. So, measure 22 through measure 25. 1 and 2 and. Let's go ahead and do that one more. We're probably going to do it more than once. So just keep in mind the phrasing. We don't really have it much with dynamics here. Just fingering and making sure that it's nice and clean and rhythmically accurate is going to be the big thing. So let's go ahead and do 22 to the end of that line. 1 and 2 and. One more time and then we'll move on. 1 and 2 and. And then 26 to the end. This should be fairly familiar. Measure 30 is going to be slightly different, as is 31, but everything else should be same old ground. So 26 to the end. 1 and 2 and. Like I said, rhythmically different, and it got me a little bit there. So let's go ahead and do 26 to the end one more time. So 1 and 2 and. Quieter. Quieter. Okay, so let's go ahead and put the second section from 18 to the end back together, and then we can slap everything together and then get it back up to speed. So keep in mind your shift into second position in measure 22, and then we have slight rhythmic differences again in measure 22, measure 24, and measures 30 and 31. So yeah, let's go ahead and take off at 18, and we'll keep the same tempo, and then we'll put everything together, and then we'll increase the tempo. So 18 to the end, 1 and 2 and. let's go ahead and start from the beginning, and then we'll tie it all together. We won't take the repeat this time. Once we get it up to speed, then we'll play through the entire thing with the repeat. So, starting at measure 1, playing through to the end, do not take the repeat. When you get to the first ending, skip the second ending, you'll go straight to measure 18. So, starting at the beginning, 1 and 2 and. Measure 18. Okay, now let's go ahead and try that tempo. We'll go ahead and try the entire thing. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Okay, that should be about right. So, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Okay, let's go ahead and do that one more time with the first section repeat, and then we will we'll be done for the day. So 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, and that's about what we're sitting at. Let's go ahead and give this a shot. So 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Take the repeat. And there we are. Well, thank you very much for joining, and I will catch you all next time. Happy practicing.